Jamal Charlo versus Brian Castaño, and if Castaño was robbed in the fight with Jamal Charlo. Let me just answer that question bluntly and straightforward. Okay, so I believe Castaño was robbed. Now I don't make a big deal of it because I really enjoyed the fight so much that I really didn't uh, put much thought into it being a robbery, but I thought it was a robbery because I had it scored 9-3. I did not think the certain rounds were close because Castaño was actually scoring in those rounds. He was landing the punches in those rounds. Charlo wasn't landing much of anything. He was landing some nice left hook counters to Castaño, sometimes lead rights, but for the most part, he wasn't landing much of anything. Castaño was landing more than Charlo. Let's just put it that way. He was also busier than Charlo. Um, so that was what really was going on there. Uh, as a result, I thought that Castaño bagged 9 rounds to Charlo's 3. I think Charlo did exceptionally well in rounds 2, 10, and 11. Okay, those are the rounds that I gave Charlo. All the rest of the rounds, I didn't swing rounds at all because Charlo was hardly landing anything. He was popping the jab, he was popping the stick, trying to keep range. Castaño had to close the distance. Castaño would do it in increments, using feints and so on to get in. Once Castaño closed the distance, he went to work. Not to say that Charlo didn't have good defense, good enough defense not to get caught with a whole lot of stuff. Usually, he got caught with the first shot that shooting Lee right that he never sees because Castaño masks it so well. He's going to throw a left hook or he's going to shoot a spear jab and then comes over the top with the right hand, you know. So, but it was a really good fight in the sense that it was chess. It was in there as chess. People were saying Charlo was waiting too long. If Charlo tried to throw more punches, Castaño would have gone to work even more because Castaño was trying to elicit a reaction out of Jamel by feigning him to get him to try and pull the trigger and counter. So I mean, it was really good. I love how Jamel would spin out or he would dip under certain punches and spin out. So there was a lot of skill involved by both fighters. However, like I said before, it wasn't the activity of Castaño that gave him the fight, in my opinion. It wasn't his activity, it was the fact that he was landing more punches than Jamel, just period. Like he outlanded him. And talking per round. And people said, Castaño would come on strong at the end of the round. No, he's building up. He's building up to crash Jamel Charlo. He's trying to throw a flurry of punches. So, during the middle of the round, he would catch him in certain shots as well. And then he kind of back off a bit and he'd start all over again, seeing what he could do with Jamel Charlo. Now, he got a little reckless in round 10. That's why Jamel Charlo hurt him. But again, like true champions, he knew how to clinch. He knew how to, keep the distance and box on the outside and move around the ring. And so able to get his bearings by the middle of round 11, and then he was doing his thing in round 11. But Charlo had already won round 11 because he had caught him a couple of times. Remind me of Devin Haney versus Jorge Linares, how he got caught with a certain shots. It takes a round to recoup. And then in 12th round, Castaño really came out and really did his thing. So, you know, uh, I never quite understood why people are saying, well, Charlo was landing the harder shots. Yes, he was landing the shots that hurt Castaño a little bit more. I mean, Castaño had his moments in rounds 3. He hurt Charlo pretty bad. But for the most part, Charlo had more of those moments in the fight. He had 3 times. Castaño had once. But it's not that Castaño couldn't hurt Charlo. It's just that, the way how the fight went, Castaño, hold on a second. Yeah, the way how the fight went, Castaño actually was doing more work, landing more punches, and he was the more effective fighter all in all. So he dictated the fight actually. Charlo kind of became reactionary. He was the guy reacting to Castaño. So as a result of that, I think Castaño hands down won that fight, 9-3. And yes, it is a robbery. It's a robbery. Uh, Again, I've talked about other fights where I thought there were robberies. One of the fights I thought was a robbery was Canelo versus Triple G, where I thought Canelo won that fight again, 9-3. Again, what you have to look at that makes a fight effective is who's the guy who's actually landing his punches, and if the memorable punch at the end of the round is the guy who landed the punch, then that guy obviously won the round. So and who's dictating the fight? And it's, obviously it was Castellano for majority of the fight. He dictated. People are saying Jamal Charlo almost got him out in the 10th. That's not true. And the reason why Jamal Charlo didn't press the action more is because he got hurt by Castaño with the counter right that Castaño landed on him, and he realized he was still alive. He might not have his leg on him, but he's still dangerous. And if anybody knows boxing knows, when a guy gets hurt, he's actually more dangerous than when he didn't get hurt. So you don't want to go in there and be like Castaño, who just got hurt by Charlo. You're trying to finish him, and you get wrecked. You get finished. So Charlo did the right thing. Charlo boxed a very disciplined, very sensible, very smart fight. It's just that Castaño had banked in more rounds and was able to get past his jab a lot more. Nobody's giving Castaño that credit. He got past the jab. He knew how to get past the jab, get to the inside, and get to his preferred range, where Charlo couldn't really restrict him from doing that as much as he would have liked to. And so Charlo was never in control of this fight. Castaño would pick his spots where he wanted to enter into the pocket and do his thing. And so that was the problem. And like I said before, if you have this unique skill set, Floyd, Canelo, Pacquiao, to some degree, and I'm thinking of Javante Davis has it, where you can slip jabs, where you can nullify jabs, where you can shut down a jab. Now, Castaño wasn't able to shut down Jamel Charlo's jab, but it was like a Floyd or it was like a Canelo. They take away the jab from getting you not jabbing anymore because one of the things they do is touch jab you, try to keep you occupy your jab so you can keep your jabbing hand at home. So you are fighting with one hand. They take away a hand from you, take away your strength from you, right? Now that didn't happen with Castaño. Castaño didn't take away Jamal Charlo's strength. He encouraged him to throw the jab so he could counter over it, and that made Jamel a little bit more apprehensive about throwing the jab recklessly. He now was jabbing and moving, which was sensible, jabbing and pivot moving, by the way, and that changes up the angles. And then Castaño would try to go to the outside of Jamel Charlo's jab to get to the weak side of him, and Jamel would have to adjust and pivot to make sure he was directly in front of Castaño. He realized that Castaño was using entry points to get at him. So these are some things for Jamel Charlo to think about if there is a rematch. Hold on a second. Let me go get a chair. Uh, great. So here's some things that Jamel Charlo needs to think about, right? Um, when you're boxing like this, you got to think about the angles this guy has, and you have to think about angles in which you're going to throw your jab to offset the angles that the other guy's throwing. All right. He's a counter puncher, yes, but you also have to learn to infight a little bit more. Jamel has to get better infighting skills. He has it, but he needs to use it a lot more. So he's gonna have to work on his infighting skills so he can get some more body shots in him. The other thing is you have to understand as a longer fighter, particularly with the height advantage and the length advantage and strength advantage, power advantage, you have to understand that in boxing you can't just have basic stuff. So popping the jab's cool, popping it low to high and all that's cool, but you also have to have different kinds of jabs. You have to be able to thread the needle. So one of the things I would suggest to Jermel Charlo, if he does a rematch, it doesn't look like he will, but if he does, it will help him because what Jamel doesn't realize is by fighting a guy like Castaño, he makes you a better fighter. He makes you bring out more. You know you have more things to work on. So it's really good that Castaño actually brought this out with Jamel. I'm going to talk about Castaño and some of the predictable things he did, and he needs to kind of change up his game as well. The more you mix it up, the more you get less predictable, is the more you can dictate in a fight. Okay? So with Jamel, the other thing I want to say to Jamel is get low. Jamel, you got to learn to get low. Meaning, if Castaño drops levels, you have to drop levels with him. Get low. Errol Spence is very good at doing that, and you have to be as good with that. You have to understand if he's fencing low to high and you're fencing high to low, he's going to have the advantage on you because he can get under your punches and he can slip your punches easily and get to the inside as he wants to. So you have to understand that. and he's always going to be probing. It's kind of like Pacquiao. He's always testing, probing, testing, probing. That's what Castaño was doing on the outside. Other thing with Jamil that I think would be important for him to up his game with, if I may, as somebody from the outside looking in, is I would suggest that he, again, footwork is everything. Foot speed, footwork, where you put your feet, where you put your feet. And he did adequate footwork, but he didn't do enough. You need to also feint Castaño. You have to foot feint him. You have to head feint him. You have to shoulder feint him. You have to feint him. And people do basic feints, but I'm going to show you a very basic feint Floyd Mayweather uses. I'm going to use Floyd Mayweather as the model. So here I am in the background here, okay? I'm a southpaw, so I'm going to be in the southpaw stance, okay? And a very basic feint, okay? Basic. Shoulder feint, okay? So I am stepping around this way. And as I step, my shoulders move, right? Right? Okay. So a basic shoulder feint when you're pivoting is you feint the pivot. You feint the pivot, but you go nowhere. You feint the pivot, but you go nowhere. You feint the pivot, but you ain't step. That gets the other guy to step as if he's going to go there, and then you got full access to what you want. Over the top. Wow. Okay? So you got to do foot feints. It's not just changing direction. That's nice. All right? That's cool. But you also got to feint as if you're moving. Okay? And it's a shoulder feint. It's like you open the blade, but you close it back real quick. So it's like, I'll feint you this way to come back over the top this way. Shoulder feints. Mayweather's known for that. There's lots of feints. And most people know of a shoulder or foot feint as coming forward. But you can also do it on the pivot. You feint the pivot. Okay? And you feint with the shoulders. You feint with the upper body. Alright. It's all with timing. You got to get the opponent's time and everything. But work on those things. So that's a basic thing. Alright? The boxing is all about this. And Jamel is a very smart guy. I realize that. He's a smart boxer. Now, Castaño, sometimes you get a little too obvious and predictable as fights go along. Trying to throw that lead right and feinting the spear jab or whatever. You gotta mix it up a little bit. Sometimes you got to throw the spear jab. Sometimes you throw the left hook. You know. The other thing is foot positioning. So you go weak side sometimes, but sometimes to open up the face of Charlo, to get him open up a little bit more, what you sometimes need to do is not go weak side, but you should try and go straight down the center and then pivot off of it. What I mean by that is you feint, you're going down the center, then you actually go down the center. You go right up in his face. You pop the jab, you shotgun jab straight up in his face. So you feint like you're going to go down the center, and then you strike him. You pop jab him, right? You fence him, right? And that'll either have him slip, or he'll either snap back away from it. Whatever he does, that reaction is to get you in position after the spear jab to pivot weak side. So your goal is to go weak side, but you want to close the distance. You come straight down the center with a spear jab, and you pivot around him. That's how you can work your way around. So you got to mix it up. You got to use different tools and different equipment. You can't be as predictable as because you always setting up that lead right and the lead right cross and the lead right hook, and you got to not only have that. Okay, that's like your specialty. That's like your bread and butter. The other thing is you need to pick your shots once you get on the inside. You can't just be throwing a barrage of shots. Sometimes you do that. You go staccato to occupy his thing because you're setting up like a left hook to the body, or you're setting up to pivot around him to throw some more punches, whatever. But if you're going to do the weak side attack, remember, you can't only throw flurries. You got to change up the rhythm. Sometimes you feint. You can throw 2-3 feints. Right? You feint as if you're going to throw a flurry. And then you set up, you line up the shot, and you blast them. So these are little things. Again, boxing is a thinking man's sport. Work on your thinking. All right? And sometimes take your time. Slow it right down. He's working at 100 miles an hour. You slow it down so that you can get him off rhythm, and then you bop, because remember, it's all about rhythm. It's a musical thing. It's dance. It's all about rhythm. It's about catching him when he does not expect you to be caught. That's what hurts the most. That's what put a guy down. So that's what I got for Castaño. Not everything needs to be ha 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 ha. Ha. Change up the bop beat, catch him on the off beat, and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Um, because Castaño always gonna close the distance. He's always gonna close the distance against any fighter. Okay, and that's something you're gonna have to deal with. Jamel, you're gonna have to learn to work on the inside. You got good, clean punches when you hit him in the liver and the kidneys. You hit him clean punches when you throw them. But you have to line it up. What I mean by that is how your feet are planted in space. Line up those shots. You also should change levels. Both of your guys need to change levels to get underneath some shots because some of the shots blocking it don't make no sense. You're still gonna get hurt. So you might as well just go under it, roll under it. You throw the shot, throw it low, throw it low, arc it down. Short chopping shots are the best. Castaño, you do excellent work with the short chopping shots. Jamel still has to work his elbow to get it. So you always beat him to the punch with short chopping shots. But Jamel, what you got to do again, now you got to work on your timing. It's all about timing. This game is a chess game. I would love to see you two guys go at it again because you two guys, they're things you complement with each other with that makes it an exciting, intriguing fight. And it's tense and everything. And I just would like to see Jamel do better. And I also like to see Castaño do better and just see who will win. Okay. Even though Castaño won this one, who knows? Like the amateurs, sometimes one guy gets it, the other guy gets it. One guy, because you guys are a match made in heaven, sort of like. You guys actually give a really good fight, a really good fight for cerebral fighters and for people who like, the sweet science. You guys did an excellent job. That's why I said I cannot knock Jamel Charlo. Yeah, Castaño got this one, but Jamel, you got some really. I always thought you were like Floyd in some respects, and the two brothers. You have some really innovative things. You got to go into your creative bag, and you do those little creative things that you do. I remember when you fought Bonus Monterosi, I was very impressed with how you got away from certain punches that he had and made him go down the wrong lines. You got to do the same thing with Castaño. He's a little bit more tricky. He's not the guy that just comes in, down. He reads the lines too. He can see, he can see angles very well. So it's gonna be tricky. But what you got to do is try and get him to go down a wrong line somewhere, right? And that's the trick to it. Use your posture, how your upper body is to your lower body. Use that posture that you got to put yourself in space and then rock back and then catch him with something. That's what you got to do. Um, so both guys did excellently well. Even though I had Castani winning and I said it was robbery, I really was so impressed with the fight and just the quality of fight that I saw was just up there. Salute to both guys. Um, and I would love to see how Jamel would respond to this, and how Castani. I would love to see if these guys faced each other 3 times. I watch all 3 fights because on every single level for me, it satisfies me as a boxing fan. I'm pretty sure the casual fans enjoyed it as well. So on every single level, I think this is a fight that fight fans would love overall. It really was a great fight. Castaño took this one. Jamil, you got to go get your get back. It's okay to be honest about it. Um, don't go saying you won a fight where you did not win. You did not win this fight. However, it's a learning experience, and you got to draw, and that's okay. Now you might think you won the fight, but you didn't win that fight. I know he didn't touch you up as much as we could see it in your face and your body. He didn't touch you up as much as everybody thought he was touching you up. But at the same time, he was touching you, more than you were touching him. When you touched him, it more mattered, I would say. You had more moments touching him and hurting him than he had of you. But at the same time, I'm not saying he didn't hurt you. He probably hurt you in spots. And there's a reason why you were circling out at certain times because he caught you with a body shot. I know what happened. Okay, y'all can't fool me. All right. But at the same time, I'm just saying improve your game, up your game, and I'm sure you could win the next one. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with him, up his game so he could win the next one. I mean, his style is a tricky style. I'm not gonna lie to you. He don't do nothing by chance. Now he was a little bit reckless with you, and you caught his ass for that. You made him pay every time he was reckless. But for for the most part, he is a problem. And the fact that you stepped up and faced him without even blinking, kudos to you, brother. There ain't a lot of fighters out here doing that. So I really respect Jamel Charlo for stepping up to plate to face Brian Castaño. If those people don't know who Brian Castaño is, y'all go watch him versus Erislandy Lara and see what I'm talking about. Jamel did better than Lara, by the way. I think Castaño beat Lara even worse than he did Jamel. So Jamel, you did an excellent job. You actually hurt Castaño too, which was really good. I don't think anybody's ever hurt Castaño per se. Um, so you did much better than everybody else that faced Castaño ever in his pro career. So I mean, you did a hell of a job. You did a hell of a job. You didn't win, but you did a hell of a job. Those 3 rounds you took them out of smarts and cunning, counterpunching, and it's the battle of skills, between you guys is not that far apart. So that the fight's almost competitive, even though Castaño's winning all the rounds. It's still competitive in the sense that you're not making mistakes like that. You're not just giving him freebies. You know what I mean? He has to work for what he gets, and I think that's all good. So anyway, this is what you need in the building. Those of you who want to leave your comments about this fight, whether it was robbery or not, it was a robbery. This guy came to America and he's been robbed twice. All right, he's been robbed at Erislandy Lara, and he's been robbed at Jamel Charlo in Texas on his promotional card. So it is what it is. I mean, we know how boxing is, but you and I, the fans, we know sometimes when something is a robbery and when it's not. I know some people know this is a robbery. People talking about it being a robbery as well. I thought it was a robbery, but I didn't really make a big deal out of it because I'm like, I knew who Castaño was. He's a boogeyman. I knew who he was. Ain't nobody just wanted, oh, I'll face Castaño. Ain't nobody just wanted to roll up and face Castaño. That's why I give Jamel a lot of props for even going after Castaño. That's a real guy right there. And ain't nobody really hot and heavy want to face Castaño. There ain't nobody hot and heavy want to face Demetrius Andre. There ain't nobody hot and heavy want to face Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So those guys are, even JoJo Diaz. I'm gonna say this. A lot of people talking down JoJo Diaz. He a real deal. Him and Tevin Farmer, they're real deal. Like they're real deal fighters. These guys know stuff. Okay, and it's a pity because I think a lot of people out there hot and heavy want to face JoJo Diaz even. I'd love to see Devin Haney versus JoJo Diaz or anybody. Hey, Teofimo Lopez versus JoJo Diaz, I'll watch that. Because I know JoJo Diaz got defense and that boy is problems. He can infight. He is problems. he's problem. He a boxer that can infight. Not a lot of the boxers today are really proficient at infighting. Not a lot of them. So JoJo got a big advantage over all them guys because he knows lines. He can see angles and lines, and that's a problem. He can get into he knows how to close the distance and have entry points. He understands when there's an entry point, not just to shoot a shot, but to actually slide in, slide out, and that's something you guys have to understand. And it's just totally different. How he handled Fortuna, they told me he a problem, a big problem. So JoJo just need to keep his head on, and he gonna be another world champion very soon. I got JoJo as a problem for Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, and I mean Gervonta Davis is a problem, by the way. He a problem. I watch his skill set. He's a problem. I mean, he just has to stay disciplined as well. Devin Haney, he'd be a problem for all them guys. I would love to see JoJo versus Devin Haney. That'd be a good test for Devin. Very good test for Devin. Because JoJo is no joke. If he gets past JoJo, I'm telling you, JoJo is a problem. JoJo can beat all those guys. I've talking about. I told you guys about JoJo for a while now, and I'm just telling you, man, that boy got skills and he got smarts and he's got ability. And the old school trainers that are training him, he's a problem. Nobody really talks about JoJo like that, but JoJo's come up from featherweight to super featherweight, not to lightweight, and he's given every single fight he has faced problems. So, and he got a wealth of experience, and it's his time. I think it's time to bloom and shine and become a world champion and probably never lose again. Who knows? He's paid his dues, you know. And he didn't get, again, he didn't get certain decisions he should have gotten. It is what it is, though. That's how boxing is. He didn't have the big pop, so they were like, he not a sensation. He won't excite crowds. He a mean boy. Them body shots, wicked shots. He hits you with the body. You don't want to get another body shot like that. Jojo Diaz, all right? Watch out for him. Carlos Molina was another fighter I used to follow. 154-pound Carlos Molina that beat Erislandy Lara. You know, real deal. Beat Julio Cesar Chavez. They robbed him with James Kirkland. They didn't allow him to get up. They pulled the plug when James could have knocked him down. And Anwolf was like, bro, you was winning the fight. You was winning the fight. They took it from you that you was winning. Because he had little legal issues. But Carlos Molina's bad boy. Bad boy. I don't know what he's doing now in Mexico. They left him in Mexico to rot. But I hope that boy can get back in shape, get some proper nutrition, and do some real serious boxing. They got him rotting in Mexico. That guy he was the real deal. He never was a superstar boxer. They never really promoted him. He was never the A side. You know what I mean? So you got to understand that's the way how boxing works. Been so for a long time. Charlie Burley, B side, somewhere back in Oakland, fighting on Murderers Road, because ain't nobody want to face him. Nobody want to give him a title shot. It's been happening since the 1940s, 1930s. Okay, folks. So when people say, "Oh, boxing, people ducking, people," oh, no, man, that been going on for a long time, bro. Some people, they just never get their shine. They never get their just due. The fact that they even get featured on television is a big thing. There ain't nobody want to invest in them guys, and they're a problem. And they know they got skills and ability, and they know they're a problem. But it's either promotional contracts or whatever. You look at some fighters, man, they get last minute fights. They had to come in for a last minute fight. They got skills and ability, everything. Just they have to stay always ready because they don't know when they're gonna get it. And then they have these whack rules that they have to do and conform to. And they say, all right, I'm gonna do the rules, give me my paycheck. And they get stopped early or whatever, and people feel they're nobody, they're just a dud. No. These dudes, they don't get their fair shake. They don't get their fair promotion. And I try to showcase one or two of them. That's the real deal. There's some real deal dudes out here. Better than, I'm going to tell y'all, Castaño is better than Tony Harris. I know people say Tony Harris is a better fighter than Castaño. Castaño got a different style, but the way how Castaño is, how he's built and everything, he's a better fighter than Tony Harris. I'm going to argue that Castaño is a better fighter than Canelo. And that's scary to think about. Because he don't have the experience like Canelo. But he got certain tools. Makes him a serious problem. I mean, Canelo, no, actually, no, I can't say Canelo. Because Canelo, he can work off the ropes. Castaño too, but he do hard, high guard thing. I don't know. Them are tricky guys, though. They're tricky guys. But Castaño, he's really, really sharp with what he does. Maybe he's not better than Canelo. Maybe he's not even better than Tony Harrison. Because Tony Harrison can do a lot. He can fight on the outside, he can fight on the inside. It's good. It's just a little chinny. Anyways, people, man, J. Rock Williams is also very skilled. That's all I got for now. I'm hoping J. Rock gets back into circulation. I haven't seen him in a long time. Let's talk a little bit quick updates. You guys want to talk anything in the chat? Chat's free. It's open. One update I want to talk to you guys about is Canelo versus Caleb Plant. It looks like the deal's going to get done, like with all negotiations. We also know that Alexander Usyk versus the heavyweight champion of the world, unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua. That's going down September 25th. That's what the date is, the place, the venue, and everything has been picked out. We'll see the press conferences roll in. We know what's happening from there. In August, no, the end of July, end of this month, not too far from now, Deontay Wilder will be taking on Tyson Fury. So that should be a good fight as well. We look forward to that. A lot of people are backing Deontay to win. I still think Tyson Fury's going to beat him. Tyson Fury going to be able. No, wait, that's been put off to October. Okay, that's put off to October. Forget about that one. I guess Tyson Fury's giving Deontay Wilder as much time to train and prepare himself, whatever. But also in addition, those are really exciting fights. Of course, I like my boy John Rael Casimiro is going to be taking on Guillermo Rigondeaux, two of my favorite fighters. I got Casimiro winning that one, though. Um, but we'll see. Regal might surprise me. I don't know. And I mean, we got some really good fights. Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence is coming up. Pacquiao looks good. Um, Keith Thurman was talking about Pacquiao, not throwing us with as much speed. I think he wasn't working on speed there. He was just working on placement, just staying fluent. Oh, one thing to Pacquiao though, I hear you have acid reflux issues. Here's what you do with acid reflux, right? Make sure, first of all, that you're not constipated in any sort of way. To deal with constipation, you can use an anti-inflammatory. I use eucalyptus oil. I also rub on my stomach for circulation purposes. I use castor oil. Okay, I don't eat it. I don't drink it or anything, but I do rub it on my body. So I rub it. It helps circulation. Okay. Um, and also, you need to be careful how you're eating. Don't eat too much rich foods and oils. Let them be natural oils. Try to eat clean, clean foods like fish, because you need your protein. Use a lot of selenium. Also for your stomach, you can use something. In my country, it's called Bodhi. It's like a string of beans, long like that. What you do is you can blend it down, young Bodhi, and drink some of that. Also, you can use cabbage juice, but don't use too much. Maybe use it once a week. Cabbage juice that heals the stomach and the lining. Because what happens is your line is kind of damaged. Also, your sleep wake cycles. Make sure you're getting good sleep in the night. Wake up in the day, you work and train, whatever. However, your sleep wake cycle is, don't get that mixed up. You're also under a lot of stress and pressure because you're dealing with elections next year, as well as you're dealing with boxing right now. I know this is your fun sport and everything, but you got to be careful with that. You also got to make sure your water intake is max and your electrolyte solutions are proper. So make sure you got your electrolytes in order and your water. The other thing I think I'm trying to think. Oh yes, the other thing is because you're drinking so much water, make sure that you also supplement back in the biome in your body, which means two things you need to get. Make sure you have prebiotics, which is things to make sure your gut is replenished in the right environment for the right bacteria and nutrients. And the second thing you need to use is yogurt or some kind of yogurt, which has all of the bio microbes that are necessary to help your gut. So make sure you have that properly there. But mostly, your problem may be constipation. You may be actually releasing more liquid from your body than normal. So I would suggest you use cocoa butter. You can coat your skin with cocoa butter. See, my skin is blistering. I'm actually sweating. And today was ridiculously hot. I'm actually sweating so much that I kind of feel a little hot cold. I think it's because of gas I have inside of me as well. I ate some malta toast cookies instead of sugar. I eat malta, and that really worked for my stomach. So my stomach's kind of worked right now. But yeah, so that's what I would suggest to Manny Pacquiao for acid reflux. If you have acid reflux disease or acid reflux problems, is because your stomach's kind of damaged and the pressure that's put on your stomach. So make sure that you're not constipated in any way. And if you have any constipation issues, don't use something to make you go off. That's not going to help you. What's going to help you is moisturizing the gut area, which means you need to use things that will help the gut retain some of the water that it loses at the lower part of your colon. The lower part of your colon will start sticking together like glue. Also, try to stay away from things like flour where you can, or if you're going to use grained flour, a lot of grains in the flour, grained flour. And so that will help you with the fluency as well as if you want to, you can almost like if you're using a depository, you can put some eucalyptus oil cocoa butter up your rectal area to make it moisturize a bit. But that's not going to help because the lower part of the alimentary canal is sticking together. So you have to. Oh, anti-inflammatories that you can use also are turmeric, a lot of turmeric with black pepper, as well as you can use garlic and use these are anti-inflammatories. So it wouldn't inflame your gut area. So your gut area because you've probably eaten a lot of food, and I think that's also going to affect you with acid reflux because things start to clump up and stick up in there. So you have to get the fluid flow out. So once you like, if you eat 3 meals a day, you should be going to the toilet for 3 meals a day, or going to the toilet, releasing a lot of stuff in one go. So that's what kind of causes problems. You gotta be careful also in how you're socializing your sex life and all of that. You have to balance things because what happens is the retention of water is really the major thing that causes the body to function well or not. your flow stays because you have enough water in your body. It may not be distributed to every part of your body properly. So I medicate myself. Now, my arm, my arm was giving me problems. I used a naturopathic thing. I used eucalyptus oil and castor oil on this arm. Because somehow I strained the muscle in my arm, probably leaning like this too much. And it's kind of out of place. I may have to go to a chiropractor and make sure he snaps it in place properly. But yeah, so my jabbing arm, it's a little bit of a, every now and then, like I wake up early in the morning. I don't sleep lying down. I mean, I slept lying down today. I slept lying down other times, but usually I sleep sitting up because I have had acid reflux disease. And but my acid reflux only acts up if I'm constipated. So you have to check out. You might feel okay, but you realize you're constipated. You're backing up a lot of stuff. So you be careful with that. But as you get older, this is an issue that happens. You get constipation problems. So you have to make sure that your body's not retaining so much water that you're dry in the lower part of the alimentary canal. This is the key. That needs to be as moisture as possible so food can flow through it much easier. So like I said before, turmeric is really good. It's an anti-inflammatory. You should use it with meals. Um, Also, something else you can use with meals, like I said before, is something called Bodhi. It's like a string bean. I think you might know. You might hear about string beans, and also you can use a little bit cabbage juice. Cabbage juice can be really good for you, even with string bean cabbage juice. But you can't use it too often because it also causes gas. So you don't really want to. But it helps to repair like injuries in your gut, particularly gut injuries. But you use it like very sparingly. You use it like once a week. But it's really good for you. Try to stay away from too many meats. You want to eat clean meats like fish. As much as possible, bring fish. Every now and then beef. Not so much steak, but beef. Like chopped minced beef is better than steak because that digests is much better because there's smaller particles. Your body knows how to break down all of that. The teeth know how to break down all of that. So eating clean and stuff that helps because then now you don't have this acid reflux problem. I'm sorry that you have that acid reflux problem. And take a day or two to rest the stomach, make sure you're fully hydrated and everything. When you're going to train, you probably training a little too hard, so that's your esophagus area here must have gotten damaged. So you're refluxing even worse than you should be. So again, to get it all healed back and everything, cabbage juice, the body to make it knit back together, heal back itself, and the normal reflux process will happen. And over time, I had really nasty acid reflux. I had really nasty, alimentary problems, digestive problems, and I think I was precancerous as well, 2 times at least. And so I have come out of all those things. I still have some reflux problems because I have constipation issues sometimes, but by and large, you should be able to get through this, especially this fight of this magnitude. I have confidence in Manny Pacquiao that you will pull through this entire fight. There's no way in hell you're gonna get stopped. I mean, I'm just saying. It shouldn't even be in your mind, but I'm just saying. But you're just too good a boxer for that to happen. I think what I'm looking forward to with Manny Pacquiao, because I like to give him little tips and stuff as well, is I want to see how you handle a boxer who's going to try to keep you long, and then he's going to try and cramp you for space. He's going to try and fight you on the inside. He's going to try and find the distance. So this is a boxer who can do 2 things. He can fight long, he can fight mid-range, and he can fight on the inside. He can fight going back and forward. He's got a good pivot work. So you have to now have those quick steps to be able to capitalize on certain movements, but at the same time, you gotta have that poise and that composure. That veteran poise and composure is the key in this fight. It's not so much speed. Now I know you're talking about speed a lot, which is cool, but I think that your composure, of course, you pounce on them, but you activate and pounce on them where necessary. But I think it's more your composure, especially when he's thinking he's having success with you, and you're seeing everything, and you're riding the punches like you do and stuff like that. So that when you see the moment, you can ignite and just go from 0 to 1,000. And I think we're going to see the best possible performance out of you. I'm looking forward to that, man. Back here for all the old homies, hold it down. For all the old homies, man, hold it down for us, man. I hope you pull off the win. I really honestly do. Me personally, I think it's just momentous. I would love to see you aspire to higher accolade. I mean, Errol's got a whole career in front of him, so you know. But I know Errol's gonna be gunning for it. He's gonna try and stop you at some point. He's gonna try it. But obviously, he's gonna try and feel you out, figure you out, see what you're doing, make sure he verifies information correctly. And you gotta show him. You gotta show him that you got something else going on. You gotta show him that you're more than he thinks you are. He got to learn to respect you. So I'm hoping that will become more of a chess match, and you show him that you can play chess. Because I think the Pacquiao that plays Mayweather, I think you're not even him anymore. I think you're something else. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in action. I'm backing you, man. I'm cheering for you. Even though I'm saying that with my heart, I cheer for you. You know what I mean? I want to see an old guy do it to a young guy again. Teach him a lesson or two. Give him a boxing class. You know. At the same time, I do know Errol Spence has all the tools necessary to beat you from previous history, but of course we can't really go on previous history. You know, you might show us something that we never seen before. So, you know, a little wrinkle here or there, see that you have all that experience. So we'll see what really comes up. But I'm looking forward. I loved your body punch, by the way, against Keith Thurman. That was brilliant. I wish you'd do more of that. And see, you know, catch Errol Spence at an angle he didn't expect to catch him with a body punch. That would be beautiful. So we'll see what happens in this fight. You know, like it's a little ways off still. Very excited to see you two guys rumble. I know Errol's airtight. He's really good. So, but for you to face two of the best ever in the world would be great. You know, best guys. You know, like welterweight. You faced the best guy at welterweight a number of times, right? You faced Floyd. You faced who else? I guess Errol would be the second. It would have been Keith, but Keith Errol was on the scene. Keith would have been the best. But this is the second time you're facing the best welterweight in the world, bar none. And so I give you mad props. This is better than you facing Shane Mosley back in the day. I mean, you just rewriting everything. You know, and if you go through the win, brother, man, I'll be ecstatic. All the old guys, I'm telling you, everybody's gonna be happy. Floyd, everybody's gonna be happy because the old guys, you just did it for the old team. You did it for the old guard. You know what I mean? Inspire the old folks. Say, hey, you ain't too old to do this shit. You know what I mean? And that's a very taxing sport. So really pushing for you and rooting for you. Even though I know I love Arrow. Don't get me wrong. I love Arrow. Arrow's my dude. I think Arrow beats Terrence Crawford. I think Arrow's the goods. He's really the truth. Even though I know probably Arrow's gonna win this fight, but you know, be that as his way, you know, I just want to see the old guy do his thing. You know what I mean? I want to see the old guy feature and show what makes old school guys and old guys don't write them off, don't count them out, and you never know. You might just pull it off. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm rooting for you back here. I'm rooting for you. And other people are gonna root for Errol Spence because, of course, he's American. His brother's brother. I mean, I want to root for Errol too. I want to root for both of you guys actually. But I think you being this old dog, the old dog, 42-year-old old dog, I gotta root for that. I'm 46, man. The old dog deciding to take on this challenge. There ain't no other way to put it. I don't care. I don't mean to say this back here. Errol's fine. He ain't messed up by no accident. I'm gonna just let you know. You are facing the very best welterweight in the welterweight division right now. It ain't Terrence Crawford. You picked the real one. You picked the best welterweight in the welterweight division. You know what I mean? That's some balls right there, brother. You got some balls. I don't know what you saw, but so my thing is, it's all about angles. It's all about time in boxing. Picking the right time. You better be first too. You better be first. Try and dictate from the get-go. If you can't succeed, remember your counters. You're a counter puncher. Catch him with something he didn't expect. Catch him with an angle. I saw you do something to Floyd I never believed. In third round, you hit Floyd with a two-piece. You wasn't even watching the dude. You caught him with a 2 feet. And I was like, good God Almighty, how the hell did he do that? You hit him with something. You went way out here, and then he came spinning around with a left. After that, I was like, what the heck? We need some more of that. Some weird shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, you know, you got this unorthodoxness to you on top of your boxing knowledge now and skill. And it's just about getting, releasing it at certain times, catching your opponent off balance. So it's all about the timing. Speed's great, but even if you wasn't as fast as you were, it's all about the timing and catching it with the right angle, stepping in the right place. And Arrow's a very precise guy with his footwork. People think he's slow-footed. He's not slow-footed. Pacquiao. Remember that. He's not slow-footed. So he's like a cat. So you better be careful with that. But at the same time, like I said before, if he comes straight down the front door, knocking at your door, you know to step around and let him know, don't do that. You know. So if he underestimates you in any way, shape, or form, make him pay. So that's what I got to say. Looking forward to that fight as well. And I'm rooting for Pacquiao. And let me just say this to people out there. I love Errol Spence. So if he wins, I'm not disappointed at all. Those two fighters, Errol's the future, Pacquiao's the present. And if Pacquiao beats Errol, that's like Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez to me. You know, that would be brilliant. Brilliant performance. Do I think he's going to beat Errol? Like I said before, with my head, I say no. With my heart, I'm hoping he does. That's a momentous thing. And I don't hate Errol. Errol, this is not a knock on you. You're supposed to win, you know, in a kind of way. It's not that Pacquiao's done, but I always believe boxing as a sport evolves. I believe you're the next generation. I think that you know more than Floyd and Pacquiao and all them other cats that came before you because all that information's in front of you. And your trainer, Derek James, is an excellent trainer, excellent coach, excellent mentor. And you just listen to him. He got a good pair of eyes. You should get the victory. So let me just let Errol Spence know that while I'm riding with the old guy, because I'm an old guy myself, that's the only reason. I have absolute confidence in you that you can accomplish whatever you decide to do. That's why I pretty much, with my head, know you're probably going to take this fight. Particularly that Mayweather is even in your corner. That just pretty much, that just puts the nail in the hammer. But I want to see how Pacquiao performs in spite of all of that. And if he can pull off the win, man, I ain't knocking him. I'm not going to knock you. I'm not going to disrespect you. But at the same time, that'll be incredible. You know, anything's possible in boxing. But if I had to bet, I'll put my money on you. But I'll definitely support Pacquiao. So um, that's the way how this fight goes. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. I'm looking forward to it. You know, Errol's training to try and stop Pacquiao, which is what you're supposed to do. The boxing, the ultimate thing is to knock out. Hopefully he's not sold on that though. That he has to go out there and knock him out because if he is, Pacquiao might knock him out. You know what I mean? You don't go in there saying I'm gonna KO this dude and you go for the kill. That when you go for the kill, that's when you get killed. So you do what you're supposed to do in there. You listen to the instructions. You look at the extra pair of eyes that are out there telling you what's up, and you do what you're supposed to do. And if the opportunity arises, you take it. You know, and that's how I look at it. All right, my people. So what you need in the building? Don't forget you can donate, subscribe, share. Thank you, my subscribers, for tuning in. I'll get you guys another dime.